Hello and welcome. Welcome to No Man's Sky on the Xbox Series X. We are sitting at the No Man's Sky main menu. This is the menu you're going to see when you first boot the game. What am I doing? Well, I'm going to walk you through No Man's Sky in terms of what you can expect when you pick up the game, because we are doing pretty well for sci-fi themed games on the Xbox at the moment. We've just had the release on Game Pass of Everspace 2, an absolutely cracking third and first person sci-fi shooter looter with Diablo-esque style loot for your ship and a really strong narrative and a lot of good space combat, and it's a gorgeous looking game as well. No Man's Sky has been going now for 7 years. It is, in fact, the 7-year anniversary, and we've recently seen a tease of a new update that's on the way called Echoes. I'm not going to speculate on what it's going to be. I'm just going to enjoy it when it drops, and I'll probably do a video on it when it's dropped. But until then, I wanted to just dive into No Man's Sky a little and show you what you can expect if you buy the game. What options are there for you depending on what's your level of play? What do you want to do with the game? For me, it's my chill. I don't care about difficulty. I don't care about having a massive survival experience style game. Although I can do. I can play it on some of the hardest difficulties if I want. But I prefer to use it to play around in space, explore, build, and do all that good stuff. And of course, as you know by now, if you've seen my community tab, I'm going to be diving into the Starfield as of September the 1st. I don't know when my first video will go live. It's probably when you can drag me away from the game. Good luck on that one. But we have options in No Man's Sky. We have the general screen where you can see, where you can change whether or not your torch is going to come on automatically or whether you have to turn it on yourself. You can still toggle it yourself. You can also change the music, sound effects, the HUD, whether it's enabled or disabled, damage numbers, the temperature between Celsius and Fahrenheit, and a bunch of other things. We have the display and graphics, motion blur, I always turn off. I'm not a fan of motion blur in games. Your network, whether or not you're going to play multiplayer, and if you disable it, you can play this game solo. Accessibility, the HUD scaling, the enlarged UI text, the flash to white transitions, which can give people some problems, so you can turn them off. The galaxy map colour filter, hazard effects, hold to confirm, push to scan, a vibration strength setting. You can turn that off if you want. Camera controls, quite a lot. Your on foot, your flight, your camera height, flight controls, your comfort, whether or not you have all of these settings on, your handedness, your controls, and one of my favourite additions to No Man's Sky has been the Starship Combat Auto Follow. This is for people who might not be so great at Starship Combat. All you have to do, enable toggle, press the X button once, will lock that target that you've got in your cursor, and your ship will then follow it in combat. That's really useful, especially with people who have problems with controllers. You have button preferences. And, of course, the credits. Then, when you play the game, you can choose between multiplayer, joining other people's games and exploring the universe with other travellers, or playing the game solo. You can see I've got several saves. There are quite a few save slots. Don't worry about that. If we choose new game, you'll see there are quite a few modes. So we have normal, we have relaxed, we have creative, which is completely creative, no costs, no damage. Survival, which is obviously where the difficulty lies. A community expedition when they're running. And those are basically different ways to play the game. They have a theme, they have a story, and they will take you into things like you'll have a freighter, but you can only build at a base. You can't build out in the field, and you can't craft out in the field, and so on and so forth. And then there's custom. Custom being the most interesting one. If we click it, you will see there are a ton of settings. I'm just going to let you look at these as I go through them. You can have your survival elements, your difficulty, your natural resources, your sprinting, your scanner recharge, your damage levels, your technology damage, your death consequences. In other words, if you want it to be really, really chill, just turn death consequences to no item loss. You have all the crafting and item settings you'd want. The combat settings, whether or not you want space combat or you want on-foot combat. Tutorial missions. Your inventory transfer. Your hyperdrive system access. Normally you have to build the correct hyperdrive to access the different systems, whether base power is free or standard. Your reputation and standing game, whether it's very fast or just challenging, which means it doesn't go up very quickly at all. And your starting slots on your characters and ships. If you have them at maximum, it will give you a lot of space to put things. And you can even lock it so you can't change those difficulty settings once you're done. And there are tons of presets as well. And custom, you can just set your own and have at it. You can do it. Really, really simple. I'm not going to mess with any of that though. I'm going to jump back and I'm just going to show you some of the things that I got up to in my creative save. Some of the elements of No Man's Sky. I will be doing a playthrough at some point of No Man's Sky from the start using the normal difficulty, I think. Or I might just decide to do it on custom and make it an easy sort of playthrough so that I can show you the features as they come up and what to do. Although if I do a tutorial on it, then obviously a survival tutorial would be a possibility. Also a normal gameplay tutorial would also be a possibility. We shall see. As I said, Starfield is coming, so that will be one of my priorities. And as you know, if you watch this channel, Space Engineers is my main focus. And I will be continuing with that as well. But for now, let us take a look into the 18 quintillion planets of No Man's Sky. And every dot on the screen here is one of those planets. One of those things you can visit. One of those systems even. One of those suns that you can jump to. And here we are on my ice world. And if you've watched any of my previous No Man's Sky videos, you might recognise my auto base door one. And my other little build over here with the sensor. But this is one of the bases that I constructed over time. It's not the first base I made in No Man's Sky, but this was me messing around with the new parts that were added in one of the updates. A very nice set of metallic base parts. So you can see how you can build some really great looking structures in No Man's Sky. And all the doors on these are automated, so you can just do what you want. And there's a lot to do and a lot to see in No Man's Sky. A lot going on around you. And it can be quite overwhelming, which is why I'm thinking when I do a No Man's Sky series of videos, I'm particularly going to be focused on a directed playthrough following the story of No Man's Sky as it is. And anybody wanting elaborate cutscenes and so on, that doesn't happen in No Man's Sky. A lot of the story is delivered via text and so on. We've only ever had really one proper kind of cutscene, and that was during the expedition where the Normandy turns up at the end, and you get that as part of your fleet. This is another little interior I built, and yes, this central area here is reminiscent of the Doctor's TARDIS console. I was playing around with various things. Unfortunately, I can't do bigger on the inside than the out. And this is just one of my bases on one planet. But it's not just ground-based play. If we hop aboard the Dark Star, and we take it up into space, you'll see that I have a capital ship, but we'll pulse away from the planet a bit, just a little. And we'll bring my ship in, and you'll see my fleet jump in with it. And what you can do with this fleet is you can actually send them off on little missions, and the eagle-eyed amongst you as I tour this fleet will spot some living ships and some rather sleek looking vessels, and you can actually land and teleport onto these ships as well. They can get damaged during missions and you have to repair them, and some of them actually have functions. Some of them will scan planets. Trade ships will allow you to dock and receive various rewards and so on. And you might recognise a famous ship that I mentioned earlier as we go skipping to the left of the Normandy SR1 from Mass Effect. And there's also an extremely dense asteroid field. You can mine these for resources, and as you're sort of flying around, you can also spot that you might notice an NPC ship or two as you're scooting around these fields. Minding their own business, doing what you're doing, making a little bit of money by asteroid mining. Now, it takes a little bit to get the kind of setup I've got going here in the normal playthrough, but if you know what you're doing, you establish a farm early on and maybe an outpost for making materials like extracting indium or one of the other materials to sell at the trade stations, you can make a fair bit of money, and you can buy new ships, you can buy new freighters like this one. And a freighter isn't just a freighter, it's also a home base. It used to be that we'd land on these things and have to use the stairs to get to the bridge, but helpfully they added hangar transition teleporters. And so, quick save here. This is my fleet command room, so I can actually, as I said, send out a fleet. So this is creative mode, so there's not too much danger, so we can pick our navigator and go and see what we want. So say we pick this one and then we choose some ships to add to it. We'll choose the Normandy, that one, this one, that one, and say that one. And then they'll jump out. And you'll see now that one of these fleet command stations will have my fleet ready to interact with later on. There's a trade terminal. There's an appearance modifier to change what you look like. And I've gone ahead and built a little cabin here. So I can look out at planets and things. And this is a planetary probe module which lets me scan all planets in the system when I arrive in the system. We have a cargo storage all the way in the back here. And we have, if I remember rightly, I'm trying to remember the layout of this ship. I think this is my little hydroponics area. No, this is my little nutrient processor area. Hydroponics for growing various plants to use in making things and selling things. NPCs on board the ship. And this way leads to my other area where I've got my stellar extractors. They'll pull materials from local systems which I can then use in crafting or selling. Here's my large refinery bay for refining all these good materials into different things. Again, all of this comes into play when you're doing things like survival or just a regular normal playthrough. You'll be refining various things like ferrite into pure ferrite to do upgrades and build new tech. And all of this has been customized and built inside using the No Man's Sky building system, which again I will go through in another video. This is just a general overview of certain things. In fact, I'll show you one more thing before I jump out. We have my teleporter. We can visit any of my settlements. You can actually have your own settlement in the game. That's another thing that I will be going through. Settlements themselves are a whole storyline where you can build up the settlement over time, and you will actually have decisions to make at it. There is an underwater component, there's a sea base, there's a bunch of things. And as you can see, my bases are here, like so. I have various small bases that I've been building over time. There are also space stations that you can visit and dock at, and these have their own amenities and other NPCs visit them, land on them, you can trade with them, you can do missions. So if I jump back here, you can see my hangar bay. If I go here, launch off into space again. target the space station, pulse drive. We'll head to the space station. It is possible to encounter weird encounters as well while you're in pulse drive. Sometimes pirates can pull you out of pulse drive. Just quickly, briefly visit the station so you can see what it's like. And again, all this may change when the big update comes out. Who knows? The exterior may change, the interior may change. The interior has changed once or twice. But yeah, No Man's Sky is full of things to see and do. It's a pretty ambitious game for a small team, and they've done an amazing job on it. It's one of my favourite games. You can scrap and sell starships that you've got. You can buy upgrades to your suit, buy modules. You can buy modules for your exocraft. You can own a mech. You can buy new multi-tools. You can upgrade multi-tools. Your multi-tool is your weapon and device, which lets you do mining and so on, and terraforming using the terrain manipulator. You can talk to NPCs, and you can visit the cartographer, buy new maps, find interesting new things, do missions at the mission agent, do trading, and basically all of this can be done as well in a group of 4 of you, or just in multiplayer with everyone else. And that's a really, really quick look at No Man's Sky from the main menu into creative mode. There'll be more to come on this as time goes on. Obviously, when Starfield comes out, I will be shifting focus onto Starfield quite extensively. I have plans to do a review for Games Extreme. This is going to take a while because it'll be from my own copy of the game, but also I want to give it a longish time to review. I don't think you can do a decent review on Starfield in even 150 hours from what I can tell. There's going to be a lot of content in that game to cover, a lot of systems, a lot of interlinked systems that will need looking at. I mean, there's shipbuilding, there's outposts, there's all sorts of things, and we haven't even seen all of the features, as Todd Howard said in his Starfield Direct. They couldn't show everything. Until then, though, stay safe, take care, have fun, enjoy the games you play, look forward to Starfield, look forward to more videos from me. Bye for now.